What's going on, gamers? So we have a topic here to cover, and of course, it's going to include the PS5 Pro, PSSR 2, PS5, and the Steam Machine. And if you're excited for the Steam Machine, there's nothing wrong with that. But I personally think when I think about PSSR 2 and what it already shown me, what's around the corner, as you guys know, I've been covering this. It's a lot more exciting to me than the Steam Machine. Uh, I welcome the Steam Machine though, but I don't welcome the price. I mean, let's think about it. When you think about this machine, it's not stronger than a base PlayStation 5 that came out in 2020 or the Series X, right? And I'm like, PSSR 2 is taking console gaming to another level. You're coming into the console like space, which, like I said, I welcome something beyond Windows that's coming into the console space. But the price that it's coming in, it's going to be probably more expensive than the PS5 Pro. And I'm like, whoa, that's already now with PSSR 2 running laps around the Series X and base PlayStation 5. There's a difference here. And you're telling me you want me to pay more money for a Steam machine? You know what I mean? And this makes me think like, I don't know how this is going to work if you don't have something like Half-Life 3. You know what I mean? And if you already have a more powerful rig, the only way you want to get this is if you're like a Steam guy, like somebody who likes PlayStation a lot, right? And want to get everything PlayStation, you know what I mean? Someone likes Nintendo, want to get everything Nintendo or Xbox, get all that, you know what I mean? You guys kind of get the idea. That is the only reason I can see this being like attractive in that sense. Now, if you're coming to the console market, most people are going to be like, dude, the PS5, which only has exclusives now, they went back to exclusives only now. You're not getting that, and you want me to pay more when I could possibly get a base PS5 and a Switch 2 and have all the exclusives and all the games and all the Xbox games, all three. You know what I mean? Or get myself a PS5 Pro and still go for the Switch 2. And if I already have a PC rig, yeah, I mean it's just tough. That's my thing. And this is not just all Valve's fault. What I mean by this is the way this market is at the moment. It is forcing them to sell at a higher rate. I would like to see this thing launch at $600. You know what I mean? That would have been more plausible because obviously you're not launching to compete with consoles to sell like 40 million or even 50 million. Valve said they would be happy if they sold 10 million. So this is something I wanted to immediately get into before we cover this topic and still talk about what I'm talking about when it comes to PS5, PS5 Pro, PSSR 2, and the Steam machine and how they're going to be able to run every game way better than the Steam machine and all Xbox games. So if some people was only into this field and they didn't want no PC, but they wanted something like that, what is the price value proposition you're going to be getting here? Right? Because that type of stuff matters. So this is right here. Valve stands firm. The Steam machine will launch in 2026. Despite delays, memory and storage shortages still challenging. Updated. Yeah, it sucks. This is what I mean. Otherwise, I think the Steam machine would have been launching this month probably. That's what I think. And who knows if they have Half-Life 3 with it or not. That's still another big question mark. They'll be able to get away with some stuff if they have that. Now, going over here, I was reading this. I think that if you build a PC, I'll zoom in for you guys. You build a PC from parts and get to basically the same level of performance. That's the general price window that we aim to be at, he said. If you're thinking about the PC market right now, that makes sense. Ideally, we'd be pretty competitive with that and have a pretty good deal. But we're working on refining that as we speak. Right now, it's just a hard time to have a really good idea of what the price is going to be because there's a lot of different things, a lot of external things. So if you don't have a price, you're definitely not launching it. You know what I mean? In that context, Valve Steam Machine will likely cost above $750, more than a PS5 Pro. We've suggested Steam Machine will cost $700 to $800. That's what I was thinking, $700. To put that into perspective, but it might go up because of this. And plus, it's 512 gigabytes. The PS5 Pro has 2 terabytes. I'm telling you, man, it's a steal. The base PlayStation 5 with a disk drive currently costs $549, while the digital costs $500. The PS5 Pro is $749. Steam Machine is going to be more expensive than that with a fourth of its storage. And now you don't get the exclusives anymore. That's why I say that Valve needs to increase their identity more if they want to like sell this decently and have something like Half-Life 3 or something, that would be nice. Though they're fine on PC, but the difference is that when you look at PlayStation, you look at Steam, Steam's biggest thing is on PC, on Windows, on those devices, and on Linux machines and stuff like that, where this is an extension of that with a device that is coming into the console space to be a console-like experience, though it's a PC. So Skill Up then asked Valve to roll out the Steam Machine being subsidized hardware, saying like Valve is not going into this thinking we're going to eat a big loss on this so that we can grow in market share or categories or anything like that, correct? And like I said, no, it's more in line with what you might expect from the current PC market. Obviously, our goal is for it to be a good deal at that level of performance. And it's like, that's why I want to read this. That's why I want to show this to you guys. And I'm like, I don't know if people think that would be a good level of performance if you can get the PS5 Pro now with the PSSR 2 coming out of nowhere, showing people how much better performance you can get now for $750. Even some people were complaining about that. That's why I said, if you're coming into the console-like space, I don't know how that's going to be attractive to console gamers. Because you just want to, you got money to blow and it doesn't really matter. But we're talking about the general whole here. But like I said, they're not trying to sell 40, 50 million, you know what I mean? Not even 20. They would be happy if they were able to even make it to 10. I believe that the Xbox Project Helix is in the same situation now. Like I said, they're in the same ballpark. But like I said, when I think about PSSR 2 and all the excitement that's coming around it, outside of high-end PC builds, which not that many people in the world have, that's going to be a nice balance. And it's way more exciting to me than thinking about getting a Steam machine and paying for that type of performance. Why would I do that when I have a laptop that's more powerful than that, a PS5 Pro that's easily more powerful than that because it's not more powerful than a PlayStation 5, the Steam machine. It isn't. That's the crazy thing. And it's like, but you want to charge that much money? That's like, this is the thing. Like, that's like the console saying they're going to get to that price. Wouldn't you be like going insane if you could imagine a Pro being more expensive than it is and the base PS5 being more expensive than it is? But that's what the Steam machine is doing. Whether you want to look at it like a PC or whatever, you're still looking at the same specifications inside and the specifications over there. It's still specifications versus specifications. Whether it appears like a PC or whether it appears like a console, you're still getting charged that type of money. And like I said, if you already have your PC built, then the Steam machine is basically for Steam fanboys. For the most part, are hardcore enthusiasts, or for people that want that console-like experience from a Steam perspective, that have a Steam account that kind of want to carry that over and don't want to bring a huge PC with them somewhere, or if they don't have a laptop or whatever, and they have that as an optional device. I mean, sure, you're going to be able to browse with it and use it like a PC. I still think it's cool that it's coming into the market because we need that. Xbox is tanked down, so now Steam is going to kind of come in the same position that they're kind of in. And it's going to be a threat to Xbox. It's not going to be a threat to PlayStation, and it's not going to be a threat to Nintendo because they're not coming to appear like that. You see what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, I don't know. And then you got people like Mr. Gamer saying, if Valve does this right, a Steam-based console could really be interesting for PC gamers. What price do you think it needs to be to compete in the market? Well, here's the thing. If you just read the article and you understood what they said, they're not there to compete with PlayStation. They're there to enter the realm and get what they can for the Steam ecosystem, expanding out. Like now you got the Switch-like handheld, and you got the GameCube-like, or the GameCube, you know what I mean? Console-like aspect into the ecosystem. And there's nothing wrong with extensions and bringing more things out. Like I said, I think the more devices, the better. But as far as to compete in the market, the only thing I could see them competing against would be the Xbox. And then the Magnus in the future, but that deal would even be a much better deal than paying for that price point at that point if you're still wanting to get a console-like experience, because that's going to be significantly more powerful. That's why I say that it's going to have to be for people who are really in that Steam mentality. And I think the only way for this to work very well for Valve is they have something like Half-Life 3. Other than that, it's difficult because it's like you're not getting Wolverine this year. You're not getting Ghost of Yotei. Tony already said that. You're not getting Soros. You see what I mean? You're not getting GTA 6 this year. And PSSR 2 just took the PS5 Pro to another level to get past PS5, Steam Machine, and Xbox Series X. And, the Switch 2 is doing what it's doing. You're not getting none of those games too. So it's like, yeah, it makes it seem less appealing to me. Though I don't think that it should be canceled or anything. I think that they should still continue with it. I want to see how it plays out regardless, right? What do you have? Right here exactly is what you need, because there needs to be some identity with it. I don't get the point of people launching hardware if there's no identity with it. You need to have some type of identity. It matters. And Valve has an identity. They've shown that historically. They just haven't been making a whole bunch of games lately, but they're still going to have their exclusive stuff there. Like you can play Counter-Strike on that on the go, like a console-like experience. You can play Dota, you know, stuff like that, where you see people still playing those Steam games. But they need to bring in some new stuff. I would like to see them drop a new Counter-Strike, you know what I mean? Drop Half-Life 3, drop a new Portal, and there you go. You got a strong identity because their games last a long time. But when I think about what Sony has already, and they're bringing you games still, you're still going to be able to get Marvel. You know what I mean? You still got Marathon and stuff like that. And they're doing a lot more because they're giving first party games. Valve needs to start making games and giving games to the gaming community. And Sony gave you their games for 6 months. So, I mean, not 6 months, 6 years. But yeah, that's kind of like my take on this, guys. We can go over here and read a little bit more on it. But yeah, I'm more excited to see what PSSR 2 is going to be doing to me because that's going to be increasing my performance big time. And games I'm only going to be able to get there. And that type of stuff matters. So that's where I feel like that the Steam Machine and the Magnus or Helix has lost oomph to me because now they lost PlayStation games. And they cost too much money compared to the PS5 Pro and PSSR 2, embarrassing them. But Valve is in a kind of a tight spot. And then you have features that are actually really hard to build if you're making your own gaming PC from parts, right? He continued, like things like obviously the small form factor, and I think the noise level that we achieved or lack thereof is really impressive. Yeah, that matters. And we're excited that the people are going to find out how quiet this thing is. The PS5 Pro is very quiet. But also some integration features like HDMI CEC, right? Like being able to turn on your TV, turn off your TV, control it with your TV remote, change the volume. But like that's, I mean, if you had a monitor, you don't care. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess cool, but you're still not going to give me that performance that the PS5 Pro is going to give me, and you're charging a lot more. Like the Bluetooth and wireless work that we've done, the 4 antennas, the very deliberate design to make sure that you can have a great experience with 4 Bluetooth controllers from any manufacturer. Yeah, I mean, that is cool. Plus our Steam controller receiver integrated as well. That's all hard to do, but more importantly, you can turn on the machine from your controller, which is not something that is actually straightforward depending on the type of PC you have or the main chipset. Yeah, it's not nothing you really do with a PC, but you're making it a console-like experience. I get what they're saying. So being able to sit down on your couch, press one button on your controller, and the whole thing lights up like you'd expect for a thing in your living room, I think that's really valuable. And there's not really a price point to that because it's not really something that exists in the PC market right now. And there's people that are going to be perfectly happy building their PC at whatever level of spec, and that's going to be a great experience for them. We're building Steam OS so that if they want to use it for that, they can, and they can have essentially the same experience. And if they're happy with that, that's perfectly good with us. But we expect the machine as a nice baseline offering to let you have some features that are really hard to get otherwise. I mean, see, here's my thing, like all that stuff is kind of cool, but when people usually get their boxes, their consoles, they want that performance in the games. That's the most important thing. Not something that's more expensive, that's weaker. That's a thing now. A lot of more people are aware of that type of stuff. So that's kind of like my take on this, where I feel like the PS5 Pro is just embarrassing everything at the moment. And it's not mainly me trying to blame Valve for that. It's also because this market sucks. For PC parts and everything, and it's forcing people's hand to be more tougher than it should. And that goes all the way back to NVIDIA. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Are you excited for the Steam Machine? Or you don't want to pay no $800 for something when you realize that the Pro is in front of you, and it has only PlayStation 5 games now, PSSR 2, and even the Switch 2 has its own stuff, though the Steam Machine is more powerful than that. But you get my point, though. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be excited for this, but I'm saying I've lost more interest over time as seeing the way things are turning out. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think. Game on whatever platform you game on as usual. Peace out. Have a great day. Just saying, you know, right now PlayStation is where it's at. Later.